This video is for the notes for lesson 1-24. And so the first page you have is a blue calculator help page. So what we're doing is we're checking to see if certain numbers are solutions to the equation that we have. So you're going to do these the same way that you entered to create a table. So what you're going to do is go to y equals and enter your equation. So 2x minus 7. Hang on here. (2x minus 7). But this time, to find a specific y value, you're going to hit graph. And it's going to graph your line for you. So to find out what y equals when x equals 3.5, you're going to hit trace. And then you're going to enter your x value. So 3.5 is my x value, and you hit enter. And when you do that, it's going to give you your x value, and it's going to give you your y value. So when x is 3.5, y is going to equal 0. So on these, we're going to use the same expression, this 2n plus -3 plus 2. So let's get rid of that equation. And so first you need to make sure that you put it in a fraction format. And so instead of using the n, I'm just going to use an x. You can use any letter for a variable. So plus a -3, and then your bottom number is a 2. So that's my equation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to graph, and then I'm going to hit trace. And so when you hit trace, you're going to enter your number. So -3.5. Sorry, that should be that symbol. And you hit enter, and it says when x is -3.5, y should be a -5. And so you're just going to do the same thing over and over again. So you're going to hit trace, and you're going to enter your x value, hit enter. Oh, go to. So this time it's not going to show the 150. Let me try that again. All right, so trace. Okay, the reason I think it's given us an invalid is because we're not zoomed out enough. So you can zoom out, and let's see if that helps. And there is a quicker way to do this. It'll let me do it. Now it's still not letting me. All right, so let's try the next one. So when x equals 0.0002. All right, this time it did give me an answer. So when x, we're on this second one here, when x equals 0.0002, my y is -1.4998. And let's see, I don't think it's going to let me do this other big one, but we're going to try. So when x equals negative, yeah, it's not going to let me do those big ones. The other way that you can do this is you can plug this value into your equation. And so that. So alpha y, let me get a box in here. So my original was 2. And then when you have a number crammed up against a letter, that means you're going to multiply. So let's multiply if n is 150. 150. And then we're going to add a -3. And then put a 2 on the bottom. So you can type the equation in this way. And whatever you get out here, 297 divided by 2, that's going to be your answer. So we can do the same thing with this one, the -2,984. Instead of typing this whole thing in again, though, if you push second enter, it'll bring up your equation. And so you can just go in here and plug in -2984 and then plus a -3. And that keeps you from having to push so many buttons. Where's my error at? Oh, I didn't put my multiplication in there. So again, second enter, I need a multiplication sign right there. So negative 2,985 and 5/10. And then finally, I'm going to do it with 5,000. So second enter will bring up my equation again. I don't need that negative sign. I get 4,998.5. All right, so the next two examples say, answer the following, which of the following represent y equals 3x plus 1? So you need to find the slope and you need to find an ordered pair. So you can enter this into your y equals, you can enter this equation. So 3x plus 1, and you can go to graph it and then trace. And so we can enter this x value of 1. And so if x is 1 on this graph, y is 4. So I know that A is not right. So I can do it again and enter 2. And so when x is 2, y is 7. And then to check if the slope is 3, we'll just look at what number is tacked on to the x. So B is the correct answer. So my next one says the slope of a line is 3/5. One point on the line is 10, 1. What is the equation of the line? Well, I can automatically eliminate A and D because those do not have a slope of 3/5. Now, to figure out which one this is a point to, I would just enter these two equations. So let's do y equals, let's do the 3/5 x minus 4. So 3/5 x minus 4. And then all I've got to do is go to trace. And so I need to enter a 10 because that's the x value. Well, here, if x is 10, y is 2. So I know that B is not the correct answer. So all I'm left with is C. Now we're going to go back to the two examples that were left on yesterday's foldable. And so it says, determine which ordered pair lies on the graph. Y equals 7x minus 10. So again, you can just enter this equation. So 7x minus 10. And I'm going to trace the line. And so first I want to see if x is 2. So if x is 2, my y is 4. So A is on the graph. Now I want to see if 2, -4 is on the graph. Well, I can already say that it's not because when x is 2, y is 4, not -4. So that one is incorrect. And then example 2 says match the equation to the solutions. So again, we can enter these equations. So I've got a -2x plus 3. And so the other way that I could do this is I could go to the table and I could look up the x's. So first I'm going to look up where x is 5. Well, when x is 5, y is -7. So I know this first one's not the right solution. But if I go up here to where x is 1, I see that y is also 1. So these two would match up. The next one says y equals -x. So if I would put a -x in here, the same thing, I can just go to my table and see which one lines up. So if I go to 5, I would see that the y should be a -5. So this first one's incorrect. If I go down to 8, I see that the y is a -8. So then I know that this one is correct. And I don't feel like typing a fraction in, so let's just do y equals 3. So y equals 3. All right, so when x is 5, y is 3. So that one would match up with this point, which leaves that one to go there. So that is all for the notes for this lesson.